Turn it up!
Hi guys, Woonjo here, and this video is going to teach you how to play Phoenix Ball, the official scenario of the Phoenix League. This video is intended to be a replacement for what your Game Master would normally teach you on field. It assumes you've already got the field set up and teams have been decided. If you want to learn more about those, check out our other videos on game setup and team creation respectively. The basics. Let's get down to business. Phoenix Ball is a 6v6 ball-based, full-class amp guard scenario played on an 80 by 60 rectangular field. If you go out of bounds, you die. Players have infinite lives and a 45-second death count that starts on death. You heard that right. As soon as you die, start counting. All standard amp guard classes are allowed, including Paladin and Anti-Paladin. Monster classes, as well as relics, talismans, and trinkets are prohibited from competitive play. Hashtag sorrynotsorry. The objective is to carry a small football from the center of the field and place it in the other team's goal without throwing or batting it. Let me say that again. There's absolutely no throwing or batting the ball in this game. Players can hand off the ball to a teammate or drop the ball by letting it go. Nothing else. Now I know what you're thinking. What if I just run really fast and then let it go so that the momentum carries the ball? That's also a big no-no. Basically, anything that intentionally gives the ball additional momentum is illegal. Pick it up, put it down, or hand it off. No throwing, no batting. Now, we really don't want to have to get all technical with the writing of this rule, so let's all put our hands over our hearts and repeat after me. I solemnly swear not to waste time trying to find a loophole that lets me, quote-unquote, launch the ball in any way, shape, or form. Good? Great. I knew I could count on you. So the objective is to put the ball into the opponent's goal without throwing it or going out of bounds. Simple. Every time a point is scored, the round is ended, teams reset, and you do it all over again. A full match is made up of two 15-minute halves counted in real time, meaning that the clock never stops. In between those halves is a 5-minute break so that everyone can catch their breath, hydrate, and work on their game plan. Also at halftime, teams will switch sides, abilities are refreshed, and all enchantments get removed. Kablamo! I mean, it's probably more of a mystical twinkling sound. Rounds. So what is a round? A round is the active portion of the game between stoppages. Teams start each round at their base on opposite corners of the field, and rounds last until they are ended by a reeve. Usually, this is because someone scored, but it can also mean that there's been a rules infraction that the reeves have decided is worth stopping play over. Between rounds, players have 1 minute to collect all their projectiles, spell balls, and other gear and return to base. Players regain all wounds, armor, per life abilities, and all dead players respawn. Any enchantments that players ended the previous round with remain intact, so things like Stone Skin and Lycanthropy will have all their magic armor points restored as well. It's like a Poke Center for your team. Note, enchantments that are removed when used, such as Blessings and Troll's Blood, do not get restored between rounds. If you've played any Capture the Flag or goal-based scenario, this style of refreshment might already be familiar to you. The ball. The ball is a game item and follows all the rules for game items in the Amp Guard rulebook. In a nutshell, this means that players must drop the ball if they are ever insubstantial, frozen, out of game, fighting after death, or dead. The ball must be carried in an open hand and cannot be intentionally hidden. So now you might be thinking, I'll just have my enchanted up warrior in full plate run the ball in. They surely won't be able to kill him before he scores, right? Well, under normal circumstances, you might be right, but the ball has some pretty nasty mechanics in play to stop that exact thing from happening. Anyone carrying the ball becomes volatile, a special condition that causes them to die the next time anything makes Amp Guard legal contact with them or their gear. This death bypasses all armor, resistances, immunities, and states, as well as Gift of Air, Song of Survival, and Sanctuary. In addition, while volatile, players cannot toss their shields to negate hits. Got legged? Dead. Hit to the shield? Dead. Parried in attack? Dead. Arrow hits your garb? Dead. This even applies to contact from things that don't normally deal damage, like ice balls and entangle. Only headshots and planted feet are exempt from this rule. Also, verbal magic does not make contact, so it won't trigger this effect. In order to remove the volatile condition, a player must lose contact with the ball and wait 1 second. At that point, they are no longer volatile and can take hits as normal. This is very important to remember because it drastically changes how you will approach getting the ball into the goal. Just imagine your ball carrier as being the tail end of Prince Rupert's drop, ready to shatter at the lightest touch. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I highly recommend looking it up. After you finish this video, of course. Anyway, with that said, getting the ball to the enemy goal becomes less a task of sheer tankiness and more an issue of coordinated teamwork, slowly moving the ball upfield until the opportunity presents itself. Scoring. In order to score a point, a player must put the ball into the enemy goal and then survive until they lose their volatile condition. Now that's only 1 second, but that means that any shots in motion can still connect and deny the point after they've dropped the ball into the goal. Phoenix Ball is about working as a team to achieve victory, and you'll find that solo plays will be very difficult to pull off. That said, let's talk about the last gimmick. The bench. Phoenix Ball is a 6v6 game, but only 4 players from each team are ever allowed on the field at a given time. The other players hang out in their base in a special condition called benched. Benched players are completely out of the game, so they can't use abilities or charge, nor can they be released or dispelled. But they can talk and communicate with their team, so long as they're not making it hard for the Reeves to keep track of what's going on. When an active teammate dies, a bench player can immediately call alive and enter the battle. In this way, teams don't start to get outnumbered until they've already lost 3 people. When a player finishes their death count, if there's still 4 friendly players on the battlefield, they instead call benched and are now, you guessed it, benched. If a player gets resurrected after someone has already replaced them, they get resurrected straight to the bench instead. And for everyone who is wondering, yes, undead minions count as active players. No legions of undead for you, Mr. Necromancer. At the start of each round, teams can change which players will be benched and which players will be active, although once the round starts, there's no way to change without dying. Reeving. The last thing you need to know is how reeving is handled in Phoenix Ball. Players are never rendered invincible or otherwise immune to gameplay when discussing rules issues. If 2 players can't agree on something, such as a spell range or hit locations, then the defending player, the one receiving the attack or effect, makes the call. This decision can only be overruled by a reeve. If the aggressor strongly feels that the other player was cheating, then it should be brought to a reeve between rounds so that they can keep an eye on the player in the future. In Phoenix Ball, the goal is to keep the game flowing at all times. Reeves will never rewind to correct an issue. If a reeve feels that an infraction cannot be corrected without stopping play, they will end the round when the non-cheating team loses possession of the ball. This means that if your team can score despite the other team breaking the rules, we're not going to stop you. Reeves are encouraged to only punish transgressions that they have actually witnessed, regardless of what other people say. Remember, if it wasn't witnessed by a reeve, the defending player makes the call. Penalties. If a reeve deems it necessary, he or she can give out a penalty for misconduct. A player who receives a penalty loses all enchantments and starts the next round dead. In addition, their team must fight with 1 fewer player on the field until that death count is up. For all you hockey fans, think of it like an amp guard power play. To learn more about reeving Phoenix Ball, check out our in-depth reeving video elsewhere on this channel. And that's it. At this point, you should have a fairly good idea of how to play Phoenix Ball. For more information and clarifications to strange situations, check out the PDF for the Phoenix League format rule set. It has solutions for all sorts of strange interactions that don't really need to be covered here. I hope you enjoyed this video and are excited to start playing this game at your own local park. Make sure to join the Phoenix League Facebook page for more information, and thanks for watching. Keep it classy, everybody. Bye. For more information and clarifications to strange situations, check out the PDF.